And I just want, first of all, to thank you if you came to my event in Kampala. On the 29th of November, we had a successful seminar. We didn't actually advertise, we just used word of mouth and social media. And for those who did help to spread the message, I really thank you. You made it happen. The room was packed. We even needed extra chairs to make sure. And I enjoyed myself, and I hope that you actually enjoyed and benefited and you learned something. And based on the emails that I received from you, I think you did learn something. What I'm trying to do is to make sure we do it on a regular basis. We're doing one in March. We're going to make sure it's a big one. I'll let you know what time and where, but it should be much bigger. It should be well structured. We should have local skilled people to come and share ideas and strategies and stories with us. Well, I'm also looking for coaches and speakers and trainers who can start working with me, because I believe we need 10,000 speakers and trainers across the country just to help us with this message of taking responsibility and knowing that you have a part to play. If you don't work, if you don't contribute to the system, our country cannot grow. You see, we have a population of 35 million people. 80% of those people under the age of 30. 70% of those people are under the age of 18. 50% of the population under the age of 14. Now the opportunity there is that we have a younger population, that the future is bright, provided we can skill these people and give them skills they need, practical skills they need to get out there and compete and be able to produce things and make things, can make our country better, be able to not only for us to use, but to export to the rich nations that we're surrounded with. We have all the resources that we need. We have minerals. We have the coal. Sorry, we have copper. We have cobalt. We have so many other minerals I can't even think of. Just need to go on Google and see what we have in terms of minerals. Also, we have oil. We discovered crude oil. Apparently, we have reasonable reserves that we have, and also we discovered natural gas. So we are the country. We're blessed with the natural resources. We have a soil that's fertile. We have regular rains in the country, which means that the agriculture that actually employs about 70 to 80% of the population is actually there for us to equip our population to get out there and create jobs and create enough food for us to eat, but most importantly to be able to export out there and feed the rest of the world. And if we can basically give and do the right thing and investing in skills, practical skills, not just academic, practical skills that people will be able to learn to use their hands and create things and make things. Now, if we don't skill these people, then we have a time bomb on our hands. If you remember, in London, the UK has around 1 million people, young people. And these are a little bit not too young. These are 18 to 24, I guess. And these guys are out of work. Million of them. Because they didn't see the future, I think a year and a half ago, they actually decided to trash the country. They went around, started from North London, and the whole thing spread the entire country. And even some people died. And I think for the first time, even the UK government considered bringing the army on the street because they were concerned, what's going on? How do we handle this situation? This is a $2.7 trillion economy that actually have under 9% unemployment. And these people actually have support. They even have extra support. But they had enough and they did damage. They created damage of worth billions of pounds. And everybody was concerned. And the government of the UK government now tries so hard to make sure they can give these people enough skills to get them back to work. Because it's scary. Because you see, when a young parent doesn't work and they raise a child, the child that grew up in a house where people don't work, those kids, the chances of them not working are very high because they don't have the work ethic. They don't see their parents going to work. So the chances of them not working are far higher. So we need to go back and think about that. When you come back to Uganda or Africa, but let's talk about Uganda because we're talking about Uganda right now. When you have 25 million people under the age of 20, listen, you have a problem. We have an incredible problem of 50%, almost 17 million people, technically under the age of 14. And if that's the case, then we need to really do what's right and give these young people the tools, the skills they need, and those tools and skills start from home. You see, if the kids grow up and see the parents don't work, and they just use the housekeepers to do all the work, what are the chances of those kids to aspire to do nothing, to sit there and do nothing? The attitude and the mentality of entitlement, I find it scary, because 20 years ago when I was at home, I was working when I was 9 years old. We had to work. Kids today, they're just actually expecting. We actually had people who come to our event asking me if we're providing them with teas and coffees and dinners. Even some of them send me an email if I'm going to give them money, transport money to go home. Now, I don't know where that's coming from, but it tells me two things. That when you hear people say that it takes four Ugandan workers to do what one Kenyan worker can do, whether it's true or not, I've asked more than 20 different business people and they believe it's true. Which means if one Ugandan worker go to apply for a job, one Kenyan worker go to apply for a job, the Kenyan worker actually has a leg up. Basically, he will have more chance of getting that particular job because the society, the marketplace, perceive that person has a better work ethic compared to a Ugandan worker. Now, if that is the case, we have a challenge, we have a problem. Whatever the government is doing, it's not enough. Whatever your parent is doing, it's not enough. We need to skill our people with not just papers and degrees, but practical skill they can use to go out there and work. We need to get our kids to take responsibility, to let them know without them contributing to the system, there's no future for them. These kids, when they're 25 years old, 30 years old, they're the leaders, they're the future of our country. And if we don't give them enough skills to do so, and that's going to take parents, going to take local leaders, going to take community leaders, business leaders, government, and anybody who's responsible. I've met some incredible business people at home. Some have incredible stories to tell. My question to them is simple. You are very successful. I was given an appointment. Mr. Murwana gave me an appointment the first time I went to see him. This man must be in his 70s. I don't know how old he is, but must be in his 70s. The man asked me to go and see him in the office at 6 o'clock in the morning. Now, do you really know that Mr. Murwana gets into his office this early in the morning? I was shocked. These guys work so early. Do you think the kids on the street know that somebody like Mr. Murwana, who's so wealthy, but older man, will be in the office, will be working early in the morning and working late in the evening? They would know that. So my question to anybody, including Mr. Murwana, are the kids out there know that you get up this early to work? Because if they don't know, then they will never take responsibility. They will think you having it the easier way. So they have to learn that even you, who's wealthy, you work so hard for it. So they don't have an excuse. They have to get up in the morning, they have to work. Do they really know that Mr. Murwana was a driver at one point? They don't. We've got to tell these stories. Now, do I expect Mr. Murwana to give this message to the young people? No. It's my responsibility, your responsibility to tell the story of how Mr. Murwana or anyone else doing well in the country managed to make it. Because anybody has a story, and that story can inspire someone else to do so. It's not that we need just the degree people. We need physical, real, you and me, to go and tell our stories and tell these kids how we started. Because that way, those kids will be able to say, if he can do it, maybe I can do it too. You see, I saw a young man riding a moped, those little motorbikes. I was young, and I asked him, how do I get one of those? He said, come and work for me. You see, the only reason I asked him, because he looked very young. I could just about relate him to him. You see, your story somebody can relate to it, to give them that little feeling, you know what, it's about time I start. Because every single young man or woman you speak to in the country, they tell you, I don't have the money to get started. Nobody's telling these young people that you don't need money to get started. They also, I'm not good enough. You don't need to be good enough to get started. Or, I don't have what it takes. Everybody has what it takes. But what we do know though, we cannot let our kids walk the way they walk, talk the way they talk, shake the hand the way they shake the hands. Even boys talk like girls. So quietly, so humble. You can't even shake your hands and look in your eyes. I'm not saying every single person is like that, but majority are like this. So if you're watching this, I'm challenging you. We start from the parent. You need to look at your kids and ask yourself a very simple question. Are those kids be able to compete with your neighbor's kids? Like Kenya, Rwanda, Tanzania, Southern Sudan, Congo, Can they compete with the rest of Africa? Can they compete with, India, China, America, Europe, South America, Australia? Can they be able to compete with those kids? The answer is no. Time to invest in them now. And I guess what? You are the role model. They're learning from you. So whatever you do, just understand your kids are copying. They're doing exactly what you would do. Don't expect anyone else to teach them. So if you want them to become super and be able to contribute to the system, to the economy, you need to teach them to take responsibility now. And there's certain tools, techniques, and ideas we have to give you to make that happen. So we're going to do the next event is in March. To be big, we'll be inviting anybody to come and contribute. Contribute their meaning in terms of knowledge. And this has to be an attitude change, has to be a culture change, has to be a movement to make sure every single person have to take responsibility. We have to push our leaders accountable, our business leaders to know that if you own one shop, it's not good enough for you to sit down and say, I've got one shop, I made it, and sit there and do nothing. Open another shop. If you're a business owner, go on, expand more. The more expansion you make, the more jobs you create, the more the country become better. You see, our GDP of 20 billion, 22 billion, is that what a supermarket in the Western world can do? Come on, we can do better than that. We have our people, we have a human resource, we have natural resources, but we have human resources, and we have to tap in that. Without that, we have no hope, we have no future. And when you find that most executives in Uganda are actually Kenyans, it gives you a clue that the marketplace doesn't care who you are. It only cares who's got what it takes to produce, to give the details and be able to compete in the real world. We have to do something. I've got a part to play, you have a part to play, and I believe if we really said that we have 5 years from now to make sure every single child in the country knows what the responsibilities are, knows that they actually should create something, knows that they can actually be better tomorrow than they are today, knows that anything they want to do, they can actually be. It takes just a matter of work, dedication, study, and purpose. If we can let kids know that anything they want to do or become, there's a course, there's a book, there's a seminar, there's somebody already done that before. They don't have to reinvent the wheel. They can just go and copy and learn from that and improve it, make it much, much better. That's all they need to do. The rest is easy. There's something for everybody. You see success, the more you see the global economy will double in 20 years. So the Ugandan economy will double in 20 years. But we need to make sure our kids are equipped enough. Anything that would take an hour in Europe, it takes like 5 hours in Africa. But there's all African, but I think in Uganda, if something takes 5 hours in Kenya, it takes 2 days in Uganda. I mean, I know you're going to attack me and say that's not true, but I tell you what, for this year I spent between January and April, I was in Uganda for 4 months. This last thing, it just reminded me exactly that we need to do something now. If you live in Uganda and don't believe me, try it. And you cannot, just hide and, and dig your head, put your head in the sand and pretend this is not happening. It is happening. But I tell you what the good news is. Our kids are ambitious. They're motivated. They want to go and make an impact. They want to go and make the difference. I received more than 25 emails from the people who came, and these young people say, I'm ready to go. I want to do something. I just did not believe it was possible for me. I come from a place, I was in the street of Wise, and I did not know that actually I can become anybody. We all can. But we need people to believe in us. Sometimes you need someone to believe in you before you can believe in yourself. So we need a lot of people who have that responsibility to encourage a young woman, a young man, you can do better. We need to have more crazy thinkers, crazy, ambitious, driven people who say, I want to create something worth hundreds of billions of dollars. We don't have many of those. We want kids to say, I want to go and become the president, but beyond the president, I want to go and create a business can create 10,000 jobs. I want to build the tallest building in the country. I want to build the biggest farm and rice producing, or beans or soya or anything. Just look at what other people manage to do. Excuses, you need to have the money. That's not true. No one has the money. Money only comes to those who have something good that can impact and make an impact to as many people as possible, and then the money will flow in your direction. Otherwise, there won't be the stock market. We won't be needing this concept of the stock market that helps companies raise more money because they have money, they don't need more money. But you saw the financial crisis taught you one thing. Nobody actually had money. So many of these companies were not actually going to survive for even a week had they had their government bailing them out. So don't buy this story that you have to have the money to succeed. Just decide what you want to do. Find people who are good at doing that. Study and learn and do what they do by actually feeding your mind with that information, dress accordingly, feed your body, and create multiple income streams and learn to protect. I'm going to be screaming this message for the next year and beyond. And I'm looking for people to partner, to work with me, to make sure we spread this message anywhere across the world. But most importantly, we have to start from home. I'm a Ugandan, and I have to start from Uganda. If you not spend less time in Uganda, spend more time in Kenya than maybe in Uganda. But I've been 20 years in the UK. I've had enough, and I thank the country for giving the equipment and the tools now to go on and see if we can make a difference in the country. I get passionate. I get carried away a little bit. If I say something offends you, I apologize. But I tell you what, this is my belief. I'm sure you have yours. I can't wait to see your video. Share some ideas and stories with me, and I bet we can make this impact to our country, and Africa will be a better place because you show that. Take care. If you have any questions, email me. I hope to communicate with you at our event in March, where you're going to start a seminar, going to be one of the biggest in the country, and you're going to go on to set up our own center, 24 hours a day. We even teach you how to shake hands. We teach you how to walk. We teach you how to breathe. We teach you how to feed yourself. We teach you how to think, how to become more ambitious, how to create ideas and make sure there'll be enough people in the room to tell you it's possible, you can do it. It's a process. It's an ambitious process. But I think this movement can take on 5 years. We can actually go in and create 10 million jobs. You see, that sounds like crazy, but it's possible. Because it's easy. Why? Because anybody has to create their own job. If you can't create 10 million jobs in the next 10 years, then how are we going to be able to survive and compete? How are we going to be able to feed these people? How are we going to be able to put money aside to make sure when these young population get older, it can take care of itself? We don't have a choice. We have to do what we have to do. Until next time, take care. God bless. Bye-bye for now.